Actually, it was funny. I was watching a clip from it was actually Howie Mandel's podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and he had Bill Burr on. He had Bill Burr on there,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know whether Howie planned it this way or he was trying to like play big league. But when you reach a certain amount of subscribers, they give you these awards. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yep. Sure do.
And during the show, Howie had someone bring out the award like it was a surprise, like he brought a box out, and he go, "Oh, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube." And Bill Burr just looks at him like, "Well, thank you for your service, Howie." He knew what he was doing. He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You
Yeah.
brought this shit out during one of my interviews,
Mm-hmm.
like try big league me. Ooh, 100,000. Like, thank you for your fucking service. What the
Mm-hmm.
fuck are you doing?" He called him out right on his own show. Like, what the fuck? Who gives a fuck? It's hilarious. I can't do it justice. If you have a chance to watch the clip, Howie Mandel, Howie had that look on his face like he was about to cry. Bill Burr was like, well, thank you for your service. What the fuck are you doing?
It's the second time that I've heard that he just kind of got beat on. There was that Dana White.
Yeah, White's like, yeah, Dana White just like, Howie came on and he's just
Blowing him.
practically licking his asshole right there on the thing, and he's like, you know what? I'm tired of doing these fucking shows, and he got up and walked out. You know, I mean, that's when, you know, these Hollywood guys will come in and they'll try and do a podcast like they're doing a late night TV show.
Yeah.
And it just comes off so fake and so disingenuous, and people are just like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm just sitting here chatting with my buddies. We just happen to be recording it.
Yeah.
But it was fucking hilarious. Well, thank you for your fucking service, Howie.
I listened to Bill Burr and Bill Burr and Bill Maher on his podcast.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
There's John Lovitz. John Lovitz was on Bill Burr's podcast about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Fuck, they were just tearing each other apart the whole thing. It's the best 90 minutes. They're just ball busting each other, and they've known each other for years, and they have a lot of respect for each other. They were just busting each other's balls the whole show. It was hilarious.
I don't know how real it is, but it was a Howie Mandel. He brought on Billy Corbin from the bump. And Bill's kind of like, fuck you. He doesn't like the guy for some reason because he's...
No, he was like, they tried to do a bit, and I don't think they told him beforehand, and Burr's like, what the fuck are you doing? This isn't even funny. It was awkward and funny because Bill Burr will, like, on the spot. That's the difference between comedians who have to plan scripts and guys who can just do it off the riff, and he's like, what are we fucking doing here?
Mm-hmm.
But he made fun of it. He literally just, I'm guessing at the end of it, I was sitting there saying to myself, Howie Mandel will think twice about doing this shit on his own show even again. Because he just wasn't having it.
Yeah, he's got to learn from other shows that this isn't a fucking sit down.
Yeah.
It's a sit down talk. Yeah.
I've seen Conan O'Brien do it once or twice too, where he'll try and do his talk show with a podcast guy, especially if it's a comedian. They're like, what the fuck are we doing here, Conan? Let's just have a conversation.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Have you watched any of Section 31? Have you watched any of Section 31, the new Star Trek movie?
I haven't even tried to look for it yet. So,
okay.
Just a couple things I saw. It was like, was it well received?
Oh, I watched the first hour. It's funny. Just before I came down here about a half hour ago, we were watching. We got 47 minutes into it, and I said, "We'll watch this afterwards." And Sue said, "You can if you want. I don't want to watch anymore."
Yeah.
I was like, the normies are usually a good barometer or stuff like that, you know.
It just seems like it's you do more to update the series, the more they actually flip away from the concept of what Star Trek's supposed to be. They just show it's not, I can't find the word, but meant to be, right? It's supposed to show the society.
There's homages. Yeah, but there's homages and then blatant ripoffs, and this was a blatant ripoff. It felt like it anyway, from what I saw.
They took the hope that Star Trek was supposed to be, and they just pissed on it in a way to show that it's not anything better than anything else. So that's what I would put it.
when I saw the trailer, I had a bit of a conversation on there with Paul, and I said, whenever I see that dance electronica bar stuff, I said, oh no. Because the last 5 years I found whenever I see that in a trailer, it's usually leading to where it's going to go. In the first 47 minutes, I was like, oh, well, IGN, which usually is very supportive of Star Trek and sci-fi in general, they got it like a 2 out of 10. And I was like, uh-oh. I actually thought I'd like it better because usually the stuff that they like, if they dislike, I tend to like.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been across the board. Like every quarter I've been hearing from comments on YouTube, X, even the Blue Sky folks are like, yeah, I mean, it's a shame because she's a talented actress, but it's very
well. It also has to do with the product given to her.
Yeah,
only someone only can do, like, without seeing it, without having any just what we're talking about. I'm not going to give it my yeah or nay until I watch it, but let's just say go with the. An artist can only do so much if she's handed garbage, right? She can only do so much to turn it into at least something shiny you can watch. And I don't know if it's garbage or not. I just, like, one of the things that walked away is, okay, they got a walking tank. Okay. Yeah. All right.
There's usually, like, I remember George Lucas, when he did Star Wars, they accused him of ripping off a movie from the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
And this was 1977. So it was about 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So no one knew. No one remembered because it was a very old movie.
Yeah.
The properties that they pay homage to in this are between 5 and 10 years old. So anyone who watches this is going to say, wait a minute, they take that straight from this. Wait a minute, they took that straight from this.
Okay.
And it's that obvious. So it feels like someone just sat in their basement over COVID and said, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what they did. So
okay. So we'll leave that and go over.
Guys, I'm bringing the party to you.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
You big dummy. Oh, great Odin's raven. Say hello to my little friend.
I stepped in a ditch last night, man. I almost froze my balls off, man.
You take drugs, Danny?
Every day.
Good. What's the problem?
Yeah, David.
Oh, we know what you fear well without.
On the dog side.
This aggression will not stand, man.
Engage. Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Pulp Culture Cafe Radio. And this is the Pulp Culture Cafe, the season 13, episode 322. And as you just heard, Scott and I were just shooting the shit on something we haven't watched, just rumors. So don't take our word or anything because we haven't watched it yet. So this show, I wanted to get something up, so we're just going to pretend we're in the comic book shop. I should have a noise as comic nerds squealing over looking at magazines and comics and breathing heavy when a girl walks in. It's a girl in the comic.
I will turn a hose on you. That's a classic scene.
Yeah.
I watched that every couple of months. And the way he shags his head, I will turn a hose on you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna shoot the shit, give you some information. Excuse me. Where is it? I did highlight some stuff on Feedly. I'm trying to find that.
Okay, doggy.
So you can start with whatever you got. If you got something,
I got some shows. I do have shows. I'm light on the news, but we'll go take a look at the old feed afterwards. But I watched some new shows. I watched a show called Doc. It's on Fox. It's the first episode of this series. Mm-hmm. It stars Molly Parker and Scott Wolf. Now, Molly Parker, you'll know her. She was the female lead in Lost in Space, and she was also on House of Cards. Yes, brilliant Canadian actress.
Mm-hmm.
And she did this for the money. She must have, because it was a couple. Sue and I watched it together, and we were making so much fun in the first 27 minutes of the thing. It was a 47-minute premiere. The first 27 minutes, more stuff happened than the first 4 episodes of most series.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, just breakneck speed. Very hot-shotted. Very hot-shotted. I mean, the basic synopsis of this is this woman is a doctor in a hospital. She's kind of a house.
Yeah.
You know, like some doctors are very matter-of-factly.
And speaking of house, they're coming with a Watson. You see the previews for that? Yeah, there's a TV show, sidebar quickly. Watson is basically the same sort of thing as House. They have a doctor, a specialist. They work on trying to find out what causes the disease in people.
So is that going to be on?
It's on one of the regular TV channels, I think, like ABC or CBS.
She's kind of like that. She's a snotty doctor, and so she gets in a car accident, and she loses the last 8 years of her life. So the basic synopsis is successful doctor. It felt a bit like Doctor Strange and a few other ones where they'll get in some kind of accident. She's lost 8 years of her life. She thinks Barack Obama's still the president and so forth. So, but from the time they show her in the hospital to the car accident to the brain surgery to being in her hospital bed was 27 minutes.
Wow.
And I was thinking, those are shit. Like, it was really, really. And in that 27 minutes, she was fucking in an upstairs garage in the back of a vehicle with another doctor, which I was like, that doesn't happen. That does not happen.
Okay.
But, 27-minute mark. She's like, they told her, you know, she's had the brain surgery. And this is like 24 hours later. Like, they showed the brain surgery. You know, they'll take that thing, they'll cut a steak, and they'll... Yeah. So they're doing the surgery, and all of a sudden they show her brain cut open and everything, and she's in the hospital room. She's like, they're like, okay, there's surgery is success. You'll have a bit of a recovery time, but you're going to be okay. And she's like, okay, can I see my family? So, okay, now this, you got to remember, this woman had just had brain surgery. She just
still got all her hair and everything? Yeah.
Well, no, her hair's cut off. Her head's all bandaged. She looked like she's been pretty fucked over. So she's like, I want to see my family. And they're like, okay. Now, usually when you have that and they've been able to confirm that you've lost 8 years of your life, a counselor would come in, a psychologist, and they'd talk to her, and they'd talk to the family beforehand, and they'd say, look, there's been a lot of trauma here. We're going to work through this slowly. Not in this show. Basically, she's in the hospital room. In walks the husband. Yeah. And she goes to hug him. And he gets that weird look on his face. And then he takes his hands, puts it behind his head, takes it off, and said, we're not together. That's the first. So she's like, what? What happened? No, we haven't been together in years. So the daughter comes in. And the daughter, she's like surprised she's older. And and she's talking about something to do with the house. And the daughter's like, I don't live at home anymore, Mom. She's like, what? Okay, so my husband's not with me, and my daughter doesn't live at home anymore. Can I please just see my son? And they all get looks on their faces. Your son died 6 years ago.
Holy fuck!
I looked over as soon as I said, if an orderly doesn't kick her in the crotch, that's a wasted scene. It was the weirdest fucking scene I think I've seen in probably the last year. It was like, they just brought these people in and just kicked her right in the garage. I was like, I can't. I said to Susan, I said, this is the worst pilot I've ever seen. This is the worst, some of the worst writing I've ever seen in probably the last year or two. And by the end of it, I was like, I don't give a fuck. And it's funny because one of the last scenes, she's laying in a hospital bed. She's like, I have lost everything, but I need to be a doctor. But what about your kids and your marriage? No, I need to be a doctor. And it was just, I found they do that sometimes in trailers or shows in general, where when it's shitty writing, they'll put that music in the background and kind of overplay it. And they did that a whole bunch in here, and it was just to hide shitty writing. So anyway, it's called Doc. It's on Fox. Molly Parker's great. Watch her in Lost in Space. Watch her in House of Cards. But this is a pass for me. I'll never watch an episode of the show again. It was very weird. Very weird.
I just found that thing. I'm going to go strolling through Feedly, and it's... oh, fuck off. I'm not going to support you. What is it? What?
What? Okay.
I didn't really read it. It says, what if a diabolical Moriarty had finally able to accomplish his goal of ridding the world of Sherlock Holmes once and for all? Set to premiere tonight, Morris Chestnut, starring Watson, offers a modern take on one of literary history's greatest detectives, offering a heartbreaking yet hopeful answer to the very question. What the fuck? Well, that was pretty useless. There's nothing there. 7 months after the death of the character, Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson resumes his medical career. Well, for fuck's sake. What a stupid premise.
So it's Watson on his own, eh?
Yeah, so Sherlock Holmes is dead. So let's just use that and throw it away. And now he's just going to pick up 6 months later, and now he's on his old life, has it done through with... it's just the Watson show when they just able to use the character. Because it's public domain, the character, I believe, now. Sherlock Holmes Watson.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think so. So they just said, yeah, this is Watson's. Oh, he's dead. Now we're going to follow his life after Watson died. Or after Sherlock Holmes died.
I'd have to see who the actors were, not the
Michael Chestnut. If you see him, you'll know who he is.
Michael Chestnut.
Yeah.
Is he British?
No. Well, I don't know. Could be British, but he's a black actor. I've seen him other stuff. I can't remember where, but I don't know. They could have just called it Watson and not even bother with it, given the background. They didn't need that.
What's Watson's first name?
Luther.
Honestly, I was hoping it was Thomas so they could call it Twatson, because that would be a great movie. Twatson.
Yeah.
The Adventures of Twatson.
Yeah. I don't know. After just reading it, it's just too much added to it for unnecessary. Unless some reason Moriarty's going to come after Watson, but it.
God knows. It's just it seems like, I know they do that when they take side characters and they write it. I found the last 10 years it's not usually to give it another full story. It's just to tell shitty bad ones, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I might check it out if I have a chance, but
you like check out that stuff. I won't bother. What else did I have down on here to read? Just the same thing we were talking at the cold opener about. It's not a good thing. Section 31. Section 31 was better than when Mysterious.
Well, it's funny. I did watch 45 minutes of it, and it's amazing. You watch her acting in the first season of Strange New Worlds, and you watch her acting in this, and it's so much campier. It's just campier. That's that to me was the biggest standout, where you were able to compare her in the first season of Strange New Worlds and her in this. She's very campy in this, very I don't know how else to put it, but flamboyant. She's very flamboyant in this, and it's very odd to see someone who is a serious actor act very flamboyant. It's bizarre to watch, to be quite honest.
So here's one. I just clicked on it out of interest. I was just flipping through stuff. Playboy magazine is going to be in print since operations suspended during the dawn of the pandemic. That's like 5 years ago.
They're going back into print?
Yeah.
Washable
Lori Harvey.
Now,
Lori Harvey to cover Playboy's in Mag's first print issue in 5 years. Playboy returns to print with Lori Harvey on the cover. Pre-order today. It'll be on the stands in next month.
I bet it'll sell. I really do. I bet it'll sell like records.
I'm not saying she's naked in it. She's just on the cover. No. The more thing that I got surprising that it was actually going to be printed, an actual magazine. Because, I honestly, I haven't even noticed it's missing anymore.
Well, I mean,
It had its run, and now it's
you've got cooters and gash everywhere. You can see it
yeah.
anywhere now.
You
I mean,
can't
like,
you can't swing a
if they,
dead fish without no pussy.
yeah, I mean, if they make it a magazine where it's interesting articles and well done, beautiful women, like for instance, if they got a what's her name? Oh, what is her name? The one who played in the Rolling Stones video.
Oh, yes.
Sweeney.
Yeah. Yes.
If they paid her some money to do some tasteful nudes, they'd fucking sell magazines. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
They would. They'd absolutely. I could think.
Reincarnation of Marilyn Monroe from 1950 something when she posed nude in the first Playboy.
Exactly. If they could get something like that, they'd sell copies of it. Yeah. But I don't know. It's one of those things like albums are selling. But I mean, it's nice if they could do it the right way. I mean, I love magazines. I hate the fact they've gone away. It's when you get stuff off the internet, you're getting in an article at a time. You're bouncing around. But I always found something nice about being a magazine and go page to page. I always like that. You focused on more.
Yeah.
And then you could jerk off to it in the back.
Yeah. You get done reading, then you waste it and just stick the pages together, right? Yeah. I've read all the articles. Now to stick those pages.
I had a job when I was 26, and I'm in using the shitter, and I look up, and in the tiles, someone had taken a swank or a sherry or whatever, and it stuck it up in the ceiling tiles. And I remember taking a stick and poking that tile and seeing there was two of them up there. I'm thinking, that's someone's wank rag for the work bathroom. I was like, fuck me. I was only there for 6 months, but I'll never forget. When we started with that, I just remember poking the tile and I could see titties and I'm thinking, all right, time to go.
You hit it and it comes down and it's all crusty and hard. Fuck!
I didn't go that far. It was just, I just poked it with a stick like you would a dead animal, and that's it. But I remember that.
Hoping it was still alive.
I remember I said to the forklift driver, I said, you know what's in there? He said, yeah, that's Bob's. Don't touch it. It's like, all right.
What's the other one I got? Oh, Marvel Comics is announcing Hulk versus Godzilla. It's announced a new limited comic series, Godzilla versus the Hulk. It says, and I didn't know this, but apparently it's a 63-year-old debate. Someone actually has been debating this. I don't know who. I don't know why, but apparently someone wanted it. Like, I can understand Superman and Hulk, but I can't understand the Godzilla one. But hey, whatever.
Both green? Isn't Godzilla green? Hulk's green? That's
well, in the books he's green. He's in,
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's funny because the Godzilla, the Fantastic Four, I know they're doing a bunch of Godzilla one-shots. Godzilla versus the Avengers, Godzilla versus the Fantastic Four. Yes, Godzilla versus Hulk, but in the Godzilla series they had, I believe the Fantastic Four was in that series. They were the only superhero team in that, I think it was 21 issues that ran in the early 80s for Godzilla. And maybe that was the Shogun Warriors, but I think it was actually Godzilla. The Fantastic Four were in, but I guess they're doing Godzilla against the X-Men. It's a series of 6. If I understood correctly, it's a series of 6 books from different time periods against Godzilla. Which, if done right, it could be. But I mean, I don't know. The Predators.
All I can say with the amount of comic books costing now and what may help them with the orange orangutan in office is that my dollar is far and few between, and I am not wasting my money on X-Men or Hulk or Fantastic Four or whatever against Godzilla. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to look at one of them, and if it's got, if there's a decent story, just see some of the reviews, and if there's one I think will stand out and they say is a good story, I'll do it. But other than that, I mean, it's amazing that Marvel has access to all these properties now. They got Predator, they got Aliens, they've got Godzilla, Planet of the Apes, a few other ones. But that's all their 20th Century Fox stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw the trailer for Aliens Earthfall.
What's
It's
that?
coming out on. It's coming out on. It's a series this summer.
Oh yeah.
Coming out on Hulu,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks decent. It looks like they're gonna do what you remember at the end of that Alien Resurrection when Sigourney Weaver and them made Earthfall,
Mm-hmm.
and they thought, the one that Ron Perlman was in.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
kind of
they were-
remember. I
they-
only think I maybe watched it twice, but that was a while
Winona
ago.
Ryder was in it too.
Yeah,
They reached
yeah.
Earth at the end. They reached Earth at the end, and it never went anywhere else. And I think it's always been kind of cool. They did it with Aliens versus Predator in 2004 when they had them come to Earth, but it was just basically a meat factory. It was just a bunch of people in a small town, and all the aliens and predators were killing everybody.
Yeah.
But if they could actually treat it like an invasion and do it the right way, where you had humans you cared about, and kind of do it like a zombie apocalypse, only it wouldn't be, where there were survivors you actually cared about in the aliens.
Yeah.
It depends. If they do it in that way, where it's about a survival of humanity as opposed to just, chum for the aliens.
Yeah.
It won't
Yeah.
be bad.
See, that's why I haven't I never watched the Requiem, the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, it's good, but I don't know. It just seemed like the same story.
I haven't watched Prometheus. I haven't watched the new stuff. After, I think the fourth one was the last one I saw. And that was, 25 years ago now. I never watched Prometheus. I never watched any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It just seemed like the milk and the tits a little long.
Well, yeah, they milk the tits for the new generation, right?
Yeah.
Because they ain't gonna go back and watch the other ones or whatever. Let's make it. Let's start new people and younger people, and we'll show what's going on. I hear there's a big fight. Again, I haven't just quick headlines, so I'm not exactly sure, but either a fight with the family of the actor who played the robot and
Lance
Alien.
Henriksen?
Well, the guy that was the robot in the first Alien, right? They used CGI to create him in the Requiem. So like I said, without anything to back it up, because it just popped in my head now, this sounds like it's not really something the family liked. I'll have to check it out, but.
Well, my favorite, actually, I did leave one out. My favorite one that they did was Aliens versus Predator when they were in the North Pole and they're in that ice thing and they were stuck in that. That was probably the best one of the ones outside the original three.
Yeah.
Because that was probably the best story that I remember.
Yeah, it's the problem is you can only do so much with an ultimate killing machine.
No,
right?
it's a predator prey. You can only do so much with
and
a
it
story
basically
like
is
that.
just the rehash of the same thing. We go after them. We try and keep ourselves from getting killed. It's a very one-dimensional story, really.
Yeah, and that's what and more people should use that Walking Dead formula, where if you make the humans interesting enough, you can make a better story just from the human drama, because there's only so much drama you can show in grizzly bears eating humans, so to speak.
Yeah. No, the same thing. Maybe they should make a show Grizzly Bears eating human. Grizzly Bear.
I'd pay for that. I'd pay good money, that matinee money anyway.
Yeah. What else I got drop on here? Just last stuff. I'm just picked it up, haven't read it, just going through the headlines, discussing bullshit. According to a new rumor, the Russo brothers' return to Marvel Studios will be well beyond the multiverse saga conclusion, as they seal a deal overseeing the upcoming X-Men reboot. And so
I don't know. I'm iffy on all that. I'm reading the new X-Men now, and it feels very much like they're going to use that as a basis for the X-Men entrance into the MCU.
The multiverse, yeah, of course.
There's Gail Simone's a decent writer, but they don't have a lot of love or respect for the lore that came before. And I was making a joke on Twitter the other day. Gail Simone has blinded Wolverine, and she's given him PTSD. And I don't know what. It seems like he has become the weakest member of the X-Men, and they've elevated some people that they're new characters, and they did that with new characters. They tried to do it with the Eternals, and then they made the movie, and that flopped. And they've done it with a bunch of new characters. And I'm not talking about quality. I'm simply saying the fact that it didn't connect with the audiences. And it kind of feels like they're doing the same thing here. They're making some new characters, and I just don't know whether it's going to connect. But it's really obvious that that's where the next generation of X-Men are going to come from. And I don't know. It's they have to start hitting something out of the park soon, because if the new film that's coming out on February the 14th either tanks or doesn't perform, and Thunderbolts tanks or doesn't perform, I think they're going to start firing people. I really do. I just don't know where they go from there if they can't get that off the ground. So we'll see. Time will tell.
As you do now with all the services, you spend 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes or more trying to find something to watch, and then it's too late. I was trying to do that, and I was coming across some superhero movies and stuff or something coming out, and I just said, you know what? I think I'm oversaturated. I'm kind of reached my own peak with it.
Suddenly, superhero stuff, you mean?
Yeah. Suddenly now you can't swing a dead cat with it, getting something from Marvel or Star Wars, and it's rare to catch that excitement. It's
good food also. When you're eating good food, you can eat a lot of good food, but you're eating a lot of fast food that doesn't taste very good sometimes, you get sick of it more quickly. And
you could get, if you're eating good food, but it's the same food over and over, it doesn't matter how good it is, it kind of loses its appeal. So I've just kind of like
Well, so the director, the showrunner, whose name escapes me now, I saw his quote. It was being discussed online. He's the guy doing Daredevil, the new Daredevil, and he said there was a part. He made kind of a jab at the fact that, certain parts of Netflix Daredevil, there was just sitting in a room chatting, and kind of, that's what made that series good, is there was some really great conversations in there that made that series as iconic as it was. It doesn't have to be all, and I really hope that they don't make it just smash boom bam, because that's not going to be the hit they think it is going to be. But he really trashed. I don't know whether he was taking a swing at Netflix for the sake of swinging, but there was a lot of just straight good conversations that made for great storytelling in that series, or all the series for that matter. I don't know what he was trying to get at, but it seemed like he said this was going to be more action packed, and I'm thinking you can have that, but if you just have action,
that can be boring.
That can get boring after a while too. You can only have so many hallway fights.
Yeah. Publisher announces new. Here we go. Vault, because later on, when Paul's back, the third partner in this triage comes back, hopefully on next weekend, we'll talk more about. I assume Scott will have more information than this about what's going on with Diamond, but Vault Comics, has found another distributor with all that's happening with Diamond, and has announced it's up to coming direct to retailer distribution with all its titles, which basically meant if you want a Vault comic, the store such as Lee's store. Now again, most of these stories, I would say 90%, 80%, 99% of these stories all have to deal with the American market, not Canada, right?
Yeah.
We don't matter. So that they're going to do, you want some comics from Vault? You contact Vault, and they're the ones that'll ship it directly to you instead of going through a distributor. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So when you say ship it directly to you, do you mean the comic shop you deal with, or do you mean directly to your house?
Well, you can do that too, but if there it says direct retail distribution, which means source like the Comic Fever.
Yeah.
So.
I'm surprised I'm surprised a lot of these smaller comic companies haven't, because there's probably what 1,000 comic stores all across North America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised their marketing guys aren't saying, let's just contact them directly. Say, look, do you want us to send you 10 of them, 10 copies of this? And you'll see how they sell. If you sell more, if you have requests, just keep the requests. If you sell 10 and you have a request for 20, we'll send you 15 or 20 the next time. And that's what they should do.
I think one of the things Lee was talking about is the cost, though. Right? The cost of getting the books.
I would say 15 comics would cost about, probably, it would be in a FedEx envelope, a large FedEx box would be anywhere from $25 to $40. That's 15 comics, I'd say, about.
Is that American? Because we're gonna have to pay.
That's Canadian. That's Canadian.
Okay.
And if you're doing it, if you're doing it to 1,000 stores or 500 stores or whatever, you're gonna have a decent discount. They do give discounts. And like, for instance, we do about I would say 5 million in sales. I'd say I would say we ship maybe 4 or 5 times a week. So they would probably even get better discounts than we do. And our FedEx, it would be about $40. So you've got 15 comics, you're paying an extra probably $2 in shipping. So you'd have to add that in and calculate it. But it could be done. If someone decided they wanted it, you could do it. You might just have to charge a little bit more. But that's what I'd be doing if I was these small indies, or even get together. Mm-hmm. Vault or Aftershock, and just kind of form a, Vault, Aftershock.
There's like, you have to see. We're thinking even in the higher rung of the independents, but then there's tons and tons of small independents. So there's a lot of them, other than Vault and Oni or Oni, ONI.
Yeah,
I think it is.
O&I.
Boom.
Well, Boom's Marvel, actually. They're a subsidiary of Marvel.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, like, we missed each other on Wednesday, but Jeff was there. I don't know if he was still there when you showed up, but they moved everything to Lunar.
Oh,
they just did everything to Lunar. So.
Yeah. But there's ways to do it, but I mean, it's going to have to be where clients, if you say, I'm going to get this Vault Comics book, I can see a point in time where you may have to prepay a bit. Mm-hmm. Where, like, if you say, hey, I want this, okay, well, you need to pay ahead for it, or pay a percentage of it. Like,
don't be surprised. Like, they told me, I don't know if you were there at the time, but they told me, Lee told me, that they're not even going to do the figures anymore. It's just not worth it.
Do the figures mean?
Like the stuff we got of Wolverine and the Punisher and.
Oh, they're not doing the figures anymore, eh?
Too expensive. They said if the customer's willing to, if he wants to cough up the money for it, we'll do it. Now, I don't know what Lunar has in that side, because they don't have a magazine like Diamond did.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that'll work through them. So, but as of right now, a lot of stuff, if the customer wants to pay extra money, I wouldn't be surprised if they say, I'm sorry, but I have to take a percentage of the money up front.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, I've said this before to Lee, I'm not speaking at school. Some of the credit that he allows, there's a lot of guys that, they get ahead as far as credit-wise, you know what I mean?
He's going to have to really put a stop to that.
Yeah. Some specific ones anyway.
Yeah.
But as far as figures, there's so many cons, and even on Facebook Marketplace, holy shit, there's figures on there all the time.
Yeah.
That I see on there.
But I know.
But yeah,
I mean, you'll still be able to find them, but just our dealer, as I say, he's not going to be hitting a fix with us with the figures. So.
Well, I think discounts are going to go away if it continues. I really do, especially if the dollar keeps falling against the American dollar. You're going to see discounts disappear.
And that's, again, remember we just earlier talked about Godzilla versus the Hulk. No way.
Yeah.
No. And I have actually thought about stop picking up off the newsstand, because I'll go in and get my stuff, and then maybe something's on the shelf that I might want to check, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm Ultimate Spider-Man, the last issue I picked up. That's it. I'm done. I'm not picking it up anymore. Not because I haven't read it. I've got to catch up on it. It could be a great story, but I just have to watch my dollar.
What I do is at the beginning of each month, I go in, and I've done this for like the last 6 months now. I'll go in, and there's a site online, and I can't remember the name. I just punch new comics this week into Google, and there's a site that comes up, and it'll go 4 weeks into the future of what's going to be on the stands, and that's how I plan my month. And I know exactly how much I'm going to spend each month.
Yeah.
I've got a limit of $140, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's about $35 a week.
Yeah.
So I know exactly how much I'm spending each month. I've really cut back. And I mean, even Lee and I were talking about this about 2 weeks ago where, even 2009, remember when comics were $2.99?
Mm-hmm.
You could get a shitload of comics for $50.
Yeah.
And just in 14, 15 years, the change has been astronomical.
Yeah. I remember a long time. I can't give you the year, but geez, I remember going to spend that much in $50 a month, and I'm walking out with a huge stack of books.
I remember
$50 a week. Sorry.
I remember my balls hadn't dropped, and I was paying 25 cents a comic, and I had that much comics.
Hey, take a look, folks. We're showing you on the screen.
That's my balls,
and they're dropping, and that's how many books he had. The length of his balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, in that vein, we were talking about history-wise. Someone brought up Pong from the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, it was that Twitter handle, the 80s, landed the 80s.
Yeah.
They put Pong on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, sir, that was 1978. I know because I played it. And it was just the first time I had ever seen a boo-boo. I was like, guys, Pong was from the 70s. Get fucking real here.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Yeah.
First video game I ever played.
I think it was Pong. The one I remember, though, was the tank game. I might probably have discussed it on before.
Yes. The Commodore 64.
No. This was actually, you had two controllers.
Mm-hmm.
One each side, and you drove the tank around shooting at each other. And it was a big fucking console thing. I don't think it was with that Commodore 64. That was the computer where you've actually had to punch in the codes, right?
Control Alt Delete.
Yeah. No, this is no Control Alt Delete. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I still remember playing Knights. I still remember. I still get anxious hearing that music. Do you remember playing Night Stalker on ColecoVision?
No. Is that based off the series?
No, not serious. It was just called Night Stalker. It was
Okay.
basically spiders and snakes and everything.
Yeah.
But the music would speed up, and every time I hear that music, and I heard it on YouTube, and I could feel myself getting anxious as a kid because the more it sped up, the closer you were to dying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
sorry, in television. That's what it was. My mistake. I
in
meant
television.
in television.
That sounds familiar. In television.
Yeah, television with Night Stalker, and there was a few other games that we played on there.
Got anything else?
I got a series that I watch, and actually, I am recommending this to you because I think it meets your criteria.
I actually have to sidetrack for a quick second. I just said a little while ago, spending 30, 40, 50. I can't find something to watch, gives me that. I almost texted you and Paul says, suggest something. You've got a kind of idea what I'll watch, but I need something. So
okay. You don't like things that are going to go on for seasons and seasons. You like self-contained.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You love westerns.
Yeah.
Check. You don't like glorified violence just for the sake of glorified violence.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
You like good acting. Check. Okay. And this is kind of a tribute to a series you would have seen before and enjoyed quite a bit. And it's a wonderful tribute. Check. Have you seen the trailer for American Primeval?
I watched the first episode. I have not watched any of the other one yet, Seth. You
should watch the rest of it. It's very, very good. I made some notes here, and I'm going to do a review of it. No spoilers. Taylor Kirch, I think his name was. He's hit and miss.
Yeah.
The lead. He'll get good stuff. He'll get bad stuff. This is good stuff. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember what you would have saw in the first episode, but it just gets better and better. Betty Gilpin, is amazing. She
Is
is,
the
of
lead?
course, is. You and I watched her in
Glow?
Glow.
Yes.
Glow.
Yeah.
And she was fantastic in it, and she's fantastic in this.
Mhm.
No fucking Mary Sue in there.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
She learned her stripes in this one.
Hmm.
Shea Wiggum, he was the guy. He was in the town.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the town. He was the old prospector that ran the town
Yes.
with the beard.
Yes.
Yeah,
With the
Shea
shovel.
Wiggum. He's great actor. Great actor.
Yeah.
Fantastic actor.
Everyone else
Kim
has a
Coates-
gun and he's carrying his shovel around.
Exactly, and he's a great actor. And when I saw he was in this, he's one of those actors. I'm thinking he read the script. And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to take this one." Kim Coates, who plays Brigham Young,
Mm-hmm.
the Mormon leader.
Yeah.
He
That guy just, like you said, a good actor. But when I see him on screen, all I see is evil from the evil
from
from his performance as that preacher.
yes,
And
but
I just see him
he's
in that
great.
suit, and I says, "This isn't a good guy. He's not."
He is. He plays a terrific bad guy. It's funny though, because as the series goes on, you see more and more how, and I didn't know that much about American history, but how the Mormons and the U.S. military were at odds,
Mhm.
and it could have gone either way because the U.S. military wasn't that strong when that nation was new,
Mhm.
and the Mormons basically said, "We'll just kill whoever's in our territory, whether it be Indians or people in outposts." They were very much, you can't mount an attack if there's nowhere for you to mount an attack from.
Mhm.
And I didn't know that history behind it. And actually, I watched the series and did a bit more research, and they could have had a much bigger part of the U.S. than they did. And they have a lot of money behind him. And he had 20 wives. Like he was just fucking
Pumping.
once a month, yeah. But another thing. Go ahead.
No, he had to do more because if he's only fucking once a month, that means he only gets 12 of them. He's fucking like one a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But he had 20 wives. I was like, holy shit. The Noble Savage.
Mm.
That was completely wiped out. That's the one thing I loved about this. There were some of the reviews I read about. They said the accuracy that was involved in it. When natives caught people, they killed them. They just killed them.
Yeah.
And there's some real savagery you'll see later on.
That's the only part that does kind of turn me off. The amount of glorified violence in it. I know it's accurate. I know it's accurate.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
it's just kind
but
of.
that's the one thing. Well, I know you don't like that, but it's one of those things. It's like the first season of. It reminded me a lot of the first season of Hell on Wheels, where they were just in the fucking mud.
Yeah.
They were little mud monkeys. They were just fighting for their survival.
Mhm.
But I knew you didn't like that. You didn't like the glorified violence. This wasn't glorified. This is what it was like in the
I know.
Wild
I
West in
understand.
those
But
days.
it's glorified to me in a way that it's really, you don't have to show the amount of violence. There should be, it's like a good sex scene. You don't have to see them fucking to know that they're having a good time.
I sure do like watching them to fuck, John. I mean, come on, man. I like watching them fuck.
So
Vote
that's how
Quimby.
I
Oh,
do
yeah,
it.
I like watching them fuck. Vote
Yeah,
Quimby.
yeah. So
But I mean, what was the other part? Yes, it's 7 parts and done. It's only 1 season, but there wasn't a bad acting part in it. That's another good sign to me to a good series. But if you watch the first one and you were on the edge, it just gets better.
Yeah.
It literally, and Sue said that to me. She said, we watched the first one, we were like, yeah, but by the end of the second and third episodes, we gobbled that thing down in like a day. It was that good.
Okay.
And we rarely do that anymore.
Yeah.
Have you been watching Slow Horses at all?
No, I haven't watched that at all. Yeah, I
Paul
know
and
you
I
and
both
Paul love that
enjoy it.
show, especially
I just
Gary
finished-
Oldman's performance.
Yes. He's like, it reminds me a lot of Kevin Spacey, who I'd let smack my ass very hard if he come back and do a lot of the season of House of Cards, if you're listening, Kevin.
Get a phone call.
Hey, listen, it's me, Kevin. You serious about that? Yes, I was, Kevin. Yes, I was. Smack
Yeah.
me harder.
Mm.
Season 2 of Slow Horses. Brilliant writing. Just
Mhm.
fucking brilliant writing. Kept me in the dark. And there's not too many shows where I can't see what's coming or have some idea. And this show, the writing was so layered and so wonderfully done. And the second season, I call it the Game of Thrones vibe, where the writing is outside and then it just comes together beautifully. And that's exactly what this second season was. Just a well written, well weaved story.
Yeah.
And the cast is coming into its own. Like, that's usually the second season if you've got a good cast. And the cast this season, everyone had an important part and they all came together, but it's very well done. Kristen Scott Thomas, I haven't seen her in too much work other than The English Patient, which I hated, but she's great. She's fantastic this season. The villain, if I spell this out, Raid, Arade, Sir Badijan, played a wonderful villain. And if you Googled that guy and you saw the actor, you'd be like, yeah. Him and Gary Oldman going toe to toe in the key scenes they did. It was like watching Damian Lewis and what the hell's his name? Damian Lewis and Paul Giamatti.
Oh,
In going back and forth in Billions.
yeah.
Just they're two actors, and you've seen it before. You know what I'm seen it before. You'll see them in a scene, and they're just going back and forth, and you're thinking you're just watching two gunfighters go back and forth. And it was the same way in the scenes he had him with.
Yeah.
And it was just a really brilliantly written season, and I'm glad there's another 2 seasons. And my understanding, it just keeps getting better and better. But Gary Oldman, Jackson Lamb,
Yeah.
he's got that. I slip into his accent. I slip into his fucking accent all the time. And he's just the funniest shit. Where he's literally giving a eulogy. He's like, "All right, then, fuck off. Go on, get out of here." Just great dialogue. And Paul will attest to that. Just fantastic dialogue.
Okay. All right. Slow Horses. What do I got? I sent this. I think I sent it to both of you. Did you get
That's
this?
what I forgot.
Did
I
you
forgot
get
my
this?
homework.
Yeah. Did you get? Well, don't worry about it. Well, this I haven't watched them either. I've saved them for when we're going to do it. So those 2 I sent you to watch.
Yep.
But there's a film. Did you ever see a movie called My Science Project from 1985?
I watched Weird Science from 1985 with Kelly Barak. Yes, I would.
Yeah. But this is I love this show.
I have not.
Movie.
I have not watched it.
Okay, it's yeah, let's see what we get here. It takes place in a small town in the States. Despite his scavages, a military junkyard, and discovers a mysterious glowing device from a UFO, which he doesn't know it's an artifact from a powerful energy source capable of bending time and space. So it has I need to see. It's on the the one thing that they're showing up old previews. Remember you told me that one clip where they show old trailers from movies?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's on in there, and I think I actually moved. It's it doesn't tell you the actor's name, but again blank. It's like one of those hidden gems for me. I've watched it a bunch of times. I'm just doing some paste and go here, folks, and with it. Dennis Hopper was in it as a science professor in it, and he's
I recognize that, but I don't remember the movie.
No.
Was it in theaters?
Yeah, it was in theaters. I thought in a theater, 1985. The only place I go. The cast is John Stockwell, Fisher Stevens, Dennis Hopper, Danielle von Zierneck, Raphael Savard, and Redworth. And I just brought it up because I asked Paul if he ever seen her, and he said no, he's never heard of it. And it was kind of one of those movies I was going to suggest for us to watch and talk about.
I've never heard of that. Is that Rick Moranis?
No. Rick Moranis is not in it. No, it's from 1985. So Um,
Huh.
no, it's
No, I've
I
never
really don't
heard
have
of it.
anything to add to the show with it, but it's just if we could find it and watch it. They go into high school, all these different time and space things are coming. Like they
Yeah.
got a dinosaur and caveman, and they got the cool guy with the nerdy girl, and the character that's out of place, and they all end up together in this trying to figure out how to fix this problem.
You know what that they've got that I'm looking at the cover of the poster.
Mhm.
You know what I'm looking at, where they're
Yeah,
looking off into the distance.
yeah,
Does not look like the cover of Ghostbusters, the same styling
yeah,
from like Ghostbusters came out in '84 and was the biggest film of the year. And this comes out and it looked
yeah.
that looks a lot like the cover of Ghostbusters, but um Dennis Hopper, wow. I don't recognize John Stroh, Danielle. I never heard of it.
No, uh, yeah. I like to be able to see if we could all see it and watch it, and give our thoughts on it. I just enjoyed it so much.
So okay, where did you say it was?
I I don't know where that's the problem.
Oh,
It says here that you can watch it Prime Video, but that
oh
again is
really?
probably the US version.
I'll check it out. I'll see if I can find it on Prime on ours. I'll look
Yeah.
it up and see if it's there.
Uh,
But again, I don't know whether Paul would have it in the UK.
only got 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care.
I'd
I
never
enjoyed
heard
it.
of it, so I'm surprised to get that much. Like, and Dennis Hopper, he
Hmm.
they had to call it My Science Easy Rider Project. It probably would have done better.
Yeah.
But
Anyways, just ignore all that, folks. Let's just talk
it does look
about
like Ghostbusters, though, the cover, though. It's
Yeah, it
interesting.
does. You're right. It does. I mean, I just saw. I was going through the things in one of the fucking Tubi or something, and they showed a Western, and it was totally Western. But you know that Unforgiven poster with,
Yes.
and he's
Yep.
standing there, and his guns are behind
In the
his
rain,
back.
yep.
Yeah, they use that same pose and that poster for some low budget Western. So they do it all the time to get you suckered
Gonna
in.
rip 'em? Gonna rip them off. Rip off
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah. What else do I got? I gotta save that. Back. What else do I got? Da 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 dum dum. Dead air. Dead air.
I have one more.
Okay.
You want it?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I finished the season. I love the show Outlander. We've been watching it since 2014, and each season they say is the last season. They've been doing that since season 6. We're now on season 8, I believe. And I thought this was the last season, and they said next season is the last season.
Mhm.
And next season needs to be the last season because some of the writing this season was shitty, really shitty. It was not good, and I love this show, and I love the time travel aspect of it. I love the cinematography, the beautiful forests and hills and stuff like that, and the old architecture. But there was a lot of you've probably seen shows like this where they try and tell separate stories, but they never really come together at the end in the right way, and you
Yeah.
feel like if they're very discombobulated.
Mhm.
And that's what this kind of was. I was thinking 2 of the 3 storylines that you're following, one, you stop giving shit. You didn't care. It involved kids, which, most times you don't care about kids after a while.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and it just, this was the first season where I was thinking about the end of, I was thinking there was some good parts, but man, there was a lot of filler this season. So I'm hoping that they'll just finish it off next season, but I've enjoyed it. It's a very original show, and it's been a good run, but it's just time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But if you love British rural scenery,
Yeah.
it's just beautiful. It's so peaceful. When they show the Highlands in Scotland, and they shot on location in Scotland, it's so peaceful. You're thinking, I want to go to there now.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that feeling. In my bubble.
You would.
I
you
didn't
go
get to go to
though?
Scotland. I went. Yes, I
No?
went to Scotland, and I went to Edinburgh, and then to a place just outside. We went to where the Braveheart, the character, his castle is. He's a castle there.
Okay, yeah.
So,
did you guys drive up there?
Yeah. Paul and his wife. Oh, sorry, he's gonna kill me. I forgot her name. Caroline.
Her name's Carol. Her name's Caroline.
No, it's Caroline. Sorry, brain fart. Sorry, Paul, if you're listening. Caroline too. I don't think she listens, but pass on the sorry. Anyways, we decided he would drive us out. We spend a day and night, and then he would drive me to Edinburgh. So we went up there, and
so from Manchester to where? How long of a drive was it?
Fuck, I can't remember.
Like 2-3 hours?
Yeah, I think that.
I was gonna say, geez, like it's you don't think about it. But here to Saskatoon is 6 hours.
Yeah.
Here Lloydminster's 2.5.
Yeah,
so the distance from Manchester to Edinburgh is from here to Lloydminster.
Yeah.
Which is just fucking blows my mind, you know? it really blows your mind because you're thinking it's such a vast. I think of the UK as so much bigger
than what it
Canada,
actually is. Yeah,
you could fit the entire thing into probably Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba.
I think you can fit it just right in Saskatchewan.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So, if we had the resources and stuff, we could do it. But we don't have.
We could put Paul in northern Saskatchewan. He could farm the place.
Yeah. Well, he's got to stay in England because if I decide to move and if the orange orangutan does anything stupid, I'm going to be packing up and moving to I'll be living somewhere in England.
You got to learn to drive on the wrong side of the road, though.
I'll be too old. I'll take a special cart. If they
I said that to Sue. I said if I ever went over there for a visit, it would have to be a tour bus thing because I'm just going to admit it. I would kill people driving on the wrong side of the road. It would just be like, that's what I'd do.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Did you do driving over there at all?
No, because I knew
it'd be learning. Yeah, it'd be learning how to write with your wrong hand.
Yes.
Except you kill people if you do it the wrong way.
And the thing is, transportation is train and that, and everything's so local that, there's a lot of vehicles over there, but if you're in a certain area, you don't need to. And then if you need to take a train from wherever somewhere, it's okay. So you've got to drive an hour. So you take the train, it's an hour. Someone else is driving,
Yeah. That's what I love about slow horses. I've learned all this transportation lingo, the lorry, the boot, the tube, all that stuff. Yeah.
Didn't use the tube when I was in London, though. Something about being underground just didn't fit with me. Maybe it's because I'm underground. I wanted to see stuff, not a fucking dirt wall going by or whatever it is.
Well, I know it's probably quicker to get from point A to point B, but I do like the fact that you really don't have to drive if you don't want to, which is nice.
And the other thing about taking the bus is that when you're on the bus, you can see so much and suddenly you can get off. So many stops, right? The tube, you go from here to there. But anyways, so I don't yeah, okay. Well, that's it. So anyways, if you've downloaded and listened, thank you very much. If you've downloaded to the rest of the podcasts, the old radio shows are putting up, as I said, things are slowly coming together for that. Hopefully next time you hear from us, it will be the three of us. As long as the zombie queen doesn't get up and start running around, Paul should be able to join us. So that's it, folks. Thank you. Have a fun time, whatever you're doing. Ciao. Say bye, Scott.
Bye, Scott.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
That's all, folks.
Thank you. Come again.
Why, you little?